बोलिए अलबेली सरकार की, श्रीमद सतगुरु सरकार की। This morning I'm going to try to explain one of the verses from Sri Maharaj's Radha Govind Geet, Jagat Gurutam Shri Kripalu Mahaprabhu. As you all know, is written in this book Radha Govind Geet, 11,111 dohas. So taken one of them and we'll try to explain. This doha says, Tino Taju Saton Taju Govind Radhe, आठवे में निज मन बुद्धि को लगा दे। राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
तीन तजु सातो तजु, तीनों तजु सातो तजु गोविंद राधे, आठवें में निज मन बुद्धि को लगा दे।
तीनों तजु सातो तजु गोविंद राधे,
आठवें में निज मन बुद्धि को लगा दे। आठवें में निज मन बुद्धि को लगा दे। आठवें में निज मन बुद्धि को लगा दे। आठवें राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे।
तीनों तजु सातो तजु गोविंद राधे, आठवें में निज मन बुद्धि को लगा दे. Tino Taju, give up 3. Saton Taju, give up 7. There are 3 things we have to give up and there are 7 things we have to give up. Aathave में, in the 8, आठवें में निज मन बुद्धि को लगा दे. Apply your mind and intellect in the 8. Try to attain the 8. This is literal meaning. So what is the 3 and 7 we have to give up? First 3 things. This world we live in is filled of 3 things. Sattva gun, Rajo gun, Tamo gun. 3 modes of Maya that governs everything in the world. These 3 and the 7 will not give us happiness. Being a fraction of happiness, we all want only happiness. Every action we perform, it may seem very contradictory, opposite, yet every action we perform is only for one thing only: happiness. We, the individual souls, are eternal parts, fractions of God. Mamaevansho jivaloke jivabhutah sanatanah. Chapter 15, verse 7, Gita. Shri Krishna says, the Jivatma, the individual souls, are eternal parts, fractions of Him. Vedas tell us, Chinmatam Shri Hariransham Suksham Aksharam Avyam Krishna Dhinamite Prahu Jivam Jnana Gunashrayam. The Vedas are saying that the Jivatma, the individual souls, are eternal, are fractions, Ansh, Shri Hari Ansh, fraction, part of God, everywhere. Krishna mena vehitva matmanam akhilatmanam jagadhitaya sopyatra dehiva bhati mayaya. Bhagavad Mahapuran, 10th canto, 14th chapter, 55th verse. Shri Krishna is the soul of all souls. In other words, the soul is a fraction of God, Shri Krishna. Ramayan, Ishvara Ansha Jiva Avinasi, Chetan Amala Sahaj Shukarasi. The soul is a fraction of God, part of God. And what is God? Who is God? What's the definition of that thing we call God? Bhagavan, Ishwar, Paramatma, Shri Krishna, Shri Ram. Raso vai sahara sagvam hevayam labdhva nandi bhavati. Taittiriya Upanishad, chapter 2, verse 7. The Vedas say that God is bliss, He is happiness. Ras, Anand, the bliss, happiness. Anando Brahmeti Vajanat. Again the Vedas say, Taittiriya Upanishad, chapter 3, verse 6. The another name for Shri Krishna, for God, is Anand, bliss, happiness. And it's a natural law, we all know, that all parts, all fraction has a natural love for the whole and wants to become one with it. All rivers naturally flow to the ocean, being a fraction of the ocean. All flames of fire naturally rise upwards, being a fraction of God, of the sun. So in the same way, we, the Jivatma, the individual soul, being eternal fractions of Shri Krishna, naturally love and want only Shri Krishna. And because Shri Krishna is happiness, That's why we all want only happiness. Now, in spite of that, we have been searching from beginningless time. The Jivatma, the soul, is eternal, beginningless. Shri Krishna said in Gita, chapter 15, verse 7, Sanatan. Sanatan means eternal, beginningless. Ved everywhere is telling us, Gyagyo dva vaja visha nisha vaja Yeka bhokti bhogyata yukta anantaschatma Vishwarupo hyakarta tayam yada vindate brahma me tat. Shvetashvataro Upanishad, chapter 1, verse 9. Thousands of Ved mantras. There's just one is saying that the Jivatma, the individual soul, is Aj. Just as God is Aj. Aj means unborn, eternal, beginningless. Jivatma, the individual soul, is also unborn, eternal, beginningless. So from beginningless time, we have been searching for this one thing, and yet we have not found it. Not even the tiniest drop, not even once, not even in dream. Why? Because we have been looking in the wrong place. Where is the wrong place? We have been looking in the world. In material things. In the Tino, in the tree, and in the seven. We have been looking. Where it cannot be found. And why have we been looking in the wrong place? Because from beginningless time, number one, we have forgotten who we are. That we are the soul, Atma. And number two, we identify with the body. This physical body. This body we have is made of 5 elements. Earth, water, fire, air and space. Kshiti jala pavak gagana samira pancha rachit yah adhama sarira. This body, sharir, that we have, is made of 5 elements. Having identified with the body, which is destructible, it has a beginning, has an end. So we've always been searching. The world is material, the body is material. Body needs the world. Without the world, first to begin, without the body, we, the true us, we cannot exist, meaning the soul. Soul cannot exist without the body. So we need the body. And in order to attain what we are looking for in life, we have to have human body, human birth. The soul rotates in 8.4 million forms of life. And the most valuable, the most important is human birth. Why? Katum mayuyam purusha tasmat katum kurvit. Katum mayoyam purusha tasmat katum kurvit. The Vedas say, only in the human birth, in the human body, the actions we perform bears fruits. Purushart, we can do purushart. Meaning that actions we perform is going to bear fruits, good or bad. No other form of life, the actions they perform bears fruits. Whether they are animals, birds, insect, tree, grass, or even heavenly gods, devatas, celestial beings. These are all bhog yoni. Bhog yoni means they are only enjoying the fruits of the past action. You do good action, you get good fruits, you go to heaven, etc. You do bad actions, you get bad fruits. You descend into lower forms of life, go to hell, etc. Punyena punya lokam neti papina papam ubhabhyam eva manushya lokam. In this manushya, human form only, If you do good action, we'll get good fruits. You do bad actions, you'll get bad fruits. You do neither good nor bad, you will attain moksha. And you go beyond desire for moksha, you attain bhakti, the highest attainment. Only in the human birth. And we have to keep it healthy. This body needs certain things, minerals, vitamins, protein. So much things it needs to keep it healthy. So we have to give it the right amount of vitamins, mineral, protein, not too much, not too little. Right amount. Exercise, etc. We must. If you don't, the body is going to suffer. You will get sick. It will punish you. Any type of thing we do against which the body requires, we give it too much or too less, the body is going to punish us. You eat too much, you get overweight, etc. You suffer from sicknesses, illnesses, disease. You eat too little is also a problem. Everything has to be done in the correct way. So, the body requires the world, needs the world. World is very important. This world is a great grace of God. Having created us, having given us human birth, then the Lord created this world for us to utilize, to go to Him. We need the world, so utilize it in the right way. By doing the things that will keep the body healthy. But not understanding that we need to just utilize the world, we misutilize. We try to enjoy the world. We are looking for happiness. And all because of ignorance. So from beginning last time. So the first three. Everything in this world is made up of these three qualities. Sattva gun, rajogun, tamogun. And we're looking for happiness in these three things. In sattvic things, things of height, things that is sattvic, fresh food, healthy living, doing good actions, good deeds, trying and keeping healthy thoughts in your mind, good thoughts. This is all sattvic. It doesn't give us happiness, it's sattvic. We feel a little okay. In all three, we feel something. In rajasic things, we want more money, a better position, control others, etc. Rajasic. And tamasic things also give us happiness. Kind of. Sleeping. Some people say they don't get enough sleep. We love to sleep. Sleeping is also very bad, too much. We need a right amount. The Guru says, don't sleep more than 6 hours. But we sleep 7 hours, 8 hours, and if it's a weekend, 12 hours sometimes. It's very bad. Sleeping, although it is very important for the body, is also a tamasic quality. When you sleep too much, it will also cause problem, laziness, lethargy. It will bring tamasic qualities in the mind. You will lack incentive. The will grow weak, etc. So yes, body requires a certain amount of sleep. But when you give too much, it will bring tamasic qualities. When you give too little, the body will suffer. eating meat, drinking alcohol, fighting, quarreling, harming others, thinking negative thoughts, bad thoughts about others. All this is tamasic. And some people enjoy it. Some people love getting angry. Some love to quarrel and fight. Bair preeti nahi durahi duraye. Bair akaran sab kahu so. Jo kar hit anhit tahu so. The wicked person fights and quarrels with everyone for no reason at all. Harms others for no reason. And if you do something good, it becomes the worst thing for that person. Such is the nature of the wicked person. So all these three, whether it's tamasic, rajasic or sattvic, will not give us happiness. Even sattvic, it will help us to go to heaven, that's all. When you perform sattvic deeds, sattvic dharmic deeds, good actions, you try to help others, you do good things, we acquire something called punya. You perform yajna, etc. If you can, it's impossible in Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga jogana jagya jnana ek aadhar ram gun gana. Can't do in Kali Yuga. There's so much rules and regulations. Even if we can do, we acquire something called punya. We don't give you happiness here. The fruit it gives us, we think if I were to do all of this, I will go to heaven. So the three things, this world is comprised of three qualities, sattva gun, rajo gun, tamo gun. That comprises what we call the world. And there's no happiness in the world. That's why it says, give up these three. Give up doesn't mean that you don't need the world. Oh, I'm not going to eat food. I'm not going to sleep. No, it doesn't mean that. It means, do not think you can find happiness there. Get rid of that decision in the mind from beginningless time. Because we identify with the physical body, the decision has become very firm in the mind. I will find happiness in the world. A new house, a new car, handsome boy, beautiful girl, etc., etc. Lots of money. The decision has become very, very firm. To change that decision is impossible for the worldly soul. And this is where the true guru, the saint, will come. In his association, and through his grace, slowly, slowly, the knowledge will start sitting in the intellect. Yes, there's no happiness in this world, in any person or object, because I am not the body, I am the soul, Atma. And the happiness I'm looking for, I will not find in the world. Then only we will change direction. The decision will come. Otherwise, impossible. Uncountable lifetimes have gone, and we haven't done it. So, give up the idea that we can find happiness in the material world, which is comprised of three things, sattva gun, rajo gun, tamo gun. The wicked person, why does he do wicked things? Why does he harm others, fight and quarrel? Because he is thinking it will give him happiness. He thinks he finds happiness. Jaha kahu ninda sunahi parai. Harashahi manahu parinidhi pai. When the wicked person sees someone being abused, hurt in the world, they become so happy as though they have become king of the world. as though they have found some treasure lying somewhere in the road. There's aim in life. But the whole point is that the misconception that I can find happiness in the world, that's impossible. We have gotten the world uncountable times. Everything in the world. Uncountable times. Whether it's sattvic, rajasic or tamasic. We haven't found happiness. Now, 7. So we have heard there's a place called heaven, Swarg. And there's happiness there. People think there's happiness in heaven. There are 7 heavens. Bhu, Bhuvaha, Swaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satya. Sat, 7. So, a lot of people think that heaven is a great place. They want to go to heaven. Now, besides Hinduism, every other religion mostly talks about heaven and going to heaven. What is most surprising is that we who call ourselves Hindus, Sanatanis, have no idea what this place heaven is or what happens there. We like to think that when our near and dear ones have died, they have gone to heaven. People inform others either through WhatsApp messages. Long ago, people used to write letters and cards. My father has gone to heaven, Swarg. My mother has gone to heaven. My wife has gone to heaven. We think it's a great place. But we are warned. In the Ramayana, Bhagavan Shri Ram warns us. Ehi tan kar phal vishaya na bhai, swargahu swalpa ant dukhdai. Bhagavan Shri Ram is saying to the residents of Ayodhya, hey, listen to me carefully. This human body, which is so valuable, Devatas are praying and begging for it, wasn't given to you to just enjoy sensual pleasures, enjoy the senses. Nor was it given to go to heaven, Swarg. Why? Swargahu swalp. Swalp means very small, non-existent. Because there is no happiness, true happiness in heaven. It's only that of this material world multiplied a number of times. And the worst part, ant dukkhadai, it ends in suffering. After you go to heaven, you're going to suffer. Shri Krishna tells us in Gita, Tetam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam kshine punye martyalokam vishanti evam tai dharmanupapanna gatagatam kama kama labhante. Chapter 9, verse 21, Gita. When we perform dharma, righteous actions, etc., which is almost impossible in Kali Yuga, yajna and all these things. I'm not going to go in detail this morning, but I've told you many times, some other time we'll go in detail. There are so many conditions to fulfill. Dharma sampadhyate shadbhi radharmastu vipariyayah. Bhagavad Mahapuran says there are 6 conditions to fulfill to do a little havan. Yajna havan. And all impossible in Kali Yuga. And because you're going to do it wrong, because all the rules are not going to be done correctly, instead of getting benefit, you will end up getting harm. It's not to be done. Not in Kali Yuga. All the scriptures tell us, everywhere, Gita, Ramayana, Bhagavad, everywhere. Kag Basundaji says to Guruji, Kali Yuga jo ehi kali kala na sadhana duja jogana makh, 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 jap, 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 tap upa vasa. Jogana japa tapa brata makha puja. Bhagwan Sri Ram is saying to residents of Kag Basundaji is saying to Garuji, Kag Basundaji himself, through the blessings of the Lord, had seen uncountable Kalyugs and what happens in Kalyug. And he is saying to to Garuji, hey Garud, and people of the world, in the age of Kalyug, all these things you cannot do, is impossible. Yoga, not what we call yoga today, that's just part of it, but yoga means yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. Impossible to do in Kalyug. Jap, taking the name of God and bead. Tap, austerities. Brat, fasting. Mak, havan, puja. Can't do. Not in Kalyug. But if someone can do, what you're going to acquire, you acquire something called punya, spiritual merits, which will determine which heaven you will go to. I told you there's 7 and for how long. But when you go to heaven, Bhagwan Krishna is saying in Gita chapter 9 verse 21, as you start enjoying those pleasures of heaven, it is material pleasure, not divine. The happiness in heaven are only those of this material world multiplied a number of times. And there's 0 here. So no matter how much times you multiply by 0, 0 by 100, 0, 0 by a million, 0, 0 by a trillion, still 0. So once you start enjoying that, heavenly pleasures, that punya, which is so difficult to do, impossible in Kalyug, kshine punye, Shri Krishna says, it starts destroying as you enjoy. And one day it's going to finish, and then what will happen? Martyalokam Vishanti, you will be kicked out of heaven. Karma's finished, get out, and then what will happen? So Vedas tell us, Ishta purtam manyamana parishtham nanyat shreyo vedayante pramudha nakasya pristete sukitena bhutvimam lokam hintram vabhishanti. Mundak Upanishad, first Mundak, second Kan, 10th mantra. The Vedas say, people who strive to go to heaven, Vedas are the highest authority. There's nothing higher than Ved. Because Ved is the words of Bhagavan himself. It is the breath of God. Vedas are saying, the person who strives to go to heaven and want to go and does things to go to heaven is not only an ordinary fool, but the greatest fool. Mood means fool. And in Sanskrit, when you put the prefix pra before a word, it means the greatest. So the greatest fool. Why? Because after going there, and the punya dharma is finished that you used to go there, what will happen? Heenataram vabhishanti. You'll be thrown into lower forms of life: dog, cat, donkey, worm, tree, grass. From such a high position, heavenly God, all the punya is destroyed, and in the next life, you're thrown into the womb of dog, cat, donkey, worm, grass. That's why Bhagwan Shri Ram is saying in the Ramayana, Ant Dukkhadai. After going to heaven, you're going to suffer. You will only get suffering, pain and suffering. So whether it's the lowest one or the highest, all 7 we have to give up. No desire for heaven. Swarg. Sato, the highest one being Satyalok, also called Brahmalok, the abode of Brahma, the creator. is destructible. Sri Krishna says in Gita, A Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Jana Mamupete tu Kaunteya Sada Mamupete tu Kaunteya. A Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Jana Punarjanmana Vidyate. Chapter 8, verse 16, Gita. All these heavenly regions, from the abode of Brahma, the highest heaven, they are destructible. There's a time limit. You go for a little while, you have to come back right here and suffer. Brahma, the creator, lives for a long time. In his time, 100 years. In our time, 311 trillion and 40 billion years. But there's a limit. It's going to finish. And that's it. It's destructible. And only upon attaining God, Sri Krishna, we don't come back. Punar janmana vidyate. We don't take birth again in this material world and suffer. So that's why we have to give up 7 also. There's no happiness in the highest heaven, even in the abode of Brahma. Satyalok. So Aathave, what is Aathave? Aathave means divine bliss, divine love. Attaining God, Sri Krishna. This is the only place we will find true happiness. Because God, Sri Krishna, is happiness. So this is why it says, Aathave me nij man buddhi ko laga de. Attach your heart, apply your mind and intellect in attaining the 8. The performer of the action is the mind alone, not the sense organ. People worship God mostly physically. They're doing puja. Put haldi, put sindur, put this. Where the mind is, no one is paying attention. Doing abhishek, bathing the Shivaling, offering water to the sun, everything they are doing. Havan, singing the name of Lord, but only with the physical sense organ. Where the mind is at that time, no one is paying attention. God does not note what we do with the physical sense organs. He notes only where the mind is. Man eva manushyanam karanam bandhamokshayoho Brahma Bindu Upanishad, 2nd mantra. The Vedas say, Man ev, the mind alone, is the cause of bondage as well as liberation. Mind also means mind, senses and intellect. Is all included in there. In Gita also Sri Krishna says, Mayyeva mana adhasva may buddhim niveshaya. Chapter 12, verse 8. Arjun, give your mind and intellect to me, surrender the mind, the intellect. That's called surrender. So we have to take the mind and intellect, the mind to do bhakti. Mind does bhakti. Physical sense organ is there, yes. They help us, use them. Use the hand to clap, the tongue to sing the name of the Lord, the eyes to look at the beautiful murti of God, of the saint, the ears to listen to the divine philosophy, the divine glories of the Lord. Use all the senses. They help us. Very good. But main thing is the mind. Without the mind, no bhakti. Mind. Use the mind. Use the intellect to understand. Understand that there is no happiness. The happiness you're searching for cannot be found in any person or object in the world, whether tamasic, rajasic or sattvic. It cannot be found in heaven, even the highest, 7th. It will be found only in Sri Krishna. So the intellect is important to understand that. By listening again and again to the philosophy given by a saint only, We think we are doing fine by listening to everybody in the world. So people say, I go to all the temple, I listen to all the Pandit, all the Swami, all the Babajis, I listen to everybody. And I decide what is right and what is wrong. You crazy? How can you make a decision? We have a material mind and material intellect. We cannot decide that. So by listening to the wrong people, we'll get the wrong philosophy. We'll get totally confused. We have to listen, but only to a saint. The one who's going to tell us the correct thing. Guru gives knowledge. Guru has to be saint. Shri Krishna makes it very clear in Gita. Tadvir pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshani te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Chapter 4, verse 34, Gita. If you are so fortunate to find a true Guru, bona fide saint. What is a true Guru? First, Jnaninaha, meaning he has knowledge of all the Vedas, all the scriptures, complete knowledge, plus he makes us understand. He removes our doubts. But even more important, he is Tattvadarshinaha. He's attained the divine knowledge, divine bliss, divine happiness, divine vision of God. He has seen God. What to do if you're so fortunate? Only by God's grace. What to do? Number one, Tadvira Pranipatena. Completely surrender to Him. Surrender the mind, the intellect. Realize I don't know. Only what He tells me is correct. Number one. Number two, Pariprashnena. You have doubts. So question, ask Him question. Acquire true knowledge. And number three, Sevaya. Do His seva, serve Him. He will give you the true knowledge of God. He will give you He will give you Shri Krishna. So yes, we need Guru. But most times, we end up taking the wrong person for Guru. Worldly person. Worldly person cannot be Guru. The scriptures from Vedas to Ramayana are very, very clear on this point. Only a saint, one who has attained God realization, Shri Krishna, can be Guru. Worldly person cannot be Guru. He himself has nothing. How can he give you anything? He himself is in darkness. How can he give light? He himself is under Maya. He has greed, anger, jealousy, hatred, lust. How can he take you out of Maya? That's what Guru does. He takes us out of Maya. And he's the one who's going to tell us, aim for the 8. Because there you'll find happiness. The 8 is Bhakti. Shri Krishna. Divine love, divine bliss. So we have to take our mind and intellect and convince the intellect. By listening again and again. There's a Vedanta Sutra which says, Avritti Rasakri Dupadeshat. Avritti means listen again and again. Bar. Read again and again. Read what? Gita? No, you're not going to get anything. Read the philosophy given by a true saint. Listen to his divine lectures again and again. Again and again. Slowly, slowly the knowledge will come. Your mind and intellect will become convinced. Plus it will remain fresh. Don't say, I have heard this already. We forget very quickly. When the knowledge is not fresh, we end up doing wrong things. We go back into the Maya. So we have to hear again and again. No matter how many times you've heard, read again and again. But divine one. So Avriti Rasaki Dupadeshat. Upadesh means philosophy given by a true saint, a bona fide saint. Again and again. Then we will attain the true happiness, the true bliss. Aathave. So Shri Krishna tells us in Gita also, Bhaktya tvananyaya shakya Ahamevam vidhorjuna Gyatum drashtum cha tattvena praveshtum cha parantapaha. Chapter 11, verse 54, Gita. If you want to attain true happiness, the eighth, true bliss, attained by attaining God, only by knowing God we will attain that. The Vedas also tell us, Tameva viditvati mityumeti nanya pantha vidyate yanai. Shvetashvataro Upanishad, chapter 3, verse 8. The reason for all our suffering in the world, the reason for not knowing who we are, the reason for identifying with the physical body is Maya. And how can we become free from Maya? So the Vedas says, only, Tamev, Ev, only by knowing God, Shri Krishna, can the individual soul become free from Maya. There is no other way. So here Shri Krishna is telling us how to know Him. Whether we want to attain the divine knowledge of Shri Krishna, we want to know Shri Krishna, Gyatum. Drashtum, you want to see the divine form, divine body of Shri Krishna, see His divine vision. Praveshtum, someone wants to attain moksha, merge into Shri Krishna. No matter what it is spiritually, divine, only one thing, exclusive devotion, ananya bhakti. Exclusively love in Shri Krishna. So, the saint is telling us, Jagat Gurutam Shri Kripalu Mahaprabhu, so much in this one little verse from Radha Govind Gita. I could go on and on and on, I'm being brief. Give up tree, Tino Taju. Meaning all the things of this material world, people and objects, which is made from the three elements of Maya, three qualities of Maya, there's no happiness. Give up 7. It's also material, but it's not in the material world. That this world, as we know, it's subtle, but it's also material. The 7 heavens, 7 heavenly regions, there's no happiness there also. Even to the highest, Maya is still there. Let us realize and attain, aim for the 8, to attain in Shri Krishna. The 8 means Shri Krishna, Radha Krishna, because Shri Krishna is happiness. Only by attaining Shri Krishna, we will attain true happiness. And how we will attain Shri Krishna? Only through the path of bhakti, the path of love in Him. No other way. All right? So, that's enough for this morning. So we will just go through that verse again. Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe Tino Taju Saton Taju Govind Radhe Aathave में निज मन बुद्धि को लगा दे Saton Taju Govind Radhe Aathave में निज मन बुद्धि को लगा Aathave में निज मन बुद्धि को लगा दे। ठावे निज मन बुद्धि को राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे राधे we'll hear some other time. लाडली लाल की श्रीमद सद्गुरु सरकार की जय जय श्री राधे जय जय श्री राधे जय जय श्री